Hey everyone, how's it going? Today I thought I would do a long format video on something that is on everyone's mind. And I have notes in front of me, so I apologize if I glance down every once in a while. Today I thought I'd talk about electricity, how high the rates are, and ways that our family tries to mitigate usage. I live in Michigan, and currently we are rated as the 11th highest electricity rates in the United States in the year 2026. We are the highest in the Midwest, and we rate in range with groups like, obviously not California, but top 11 anyway. So some of the things that we try and focus on that are, I'm going to break this down into no cost, maintenance cost, which I consider to be probably projects under $100, and then there's some higher cost options. We've done all of these over the last 3 years, and it has been very successful for us in getting our electric bill down. I'm going to flip my notes over to the side. So no cost. Easiest thing you can do is go room to room and unplug things that you don't use on a regular basis. Off the top, I'm sitting at my desk. I do not use my printer very often, maybe once or twice a week. The outlet is accessible. It is unplugged when it's not being used. Go room to room. We have an old Wii setup. Again, gets used very infrequently. Only gets plugged in when it's used. The first time I did this project, I found 3 extension cords plugged in to the wall with nothing attached to them. This alone dropped our bill by about 10% a month. Run your big appliances in the early morning and the evening. Your washer, your dryer, your oven, your dishwasher. I'll touch on the oven in just a few minutes. Those big appliances will affect the heating and cooling of your home. And so if you're using AC and you're running the dishwasher, you're literally fighting. You have 2 systems fighting each other. So if you can, do those things early in the morning or late in the evening. Traditionally, once the sun goes down and that overhead heating has stopped, it's not as much of a big deal in the winter months when it's colder. But it really, really makes a huge difference, especially when it's hot and you're running the washer, because you're putting humidity into the air, and that can also create more of a heat island. Keep your blinds closed during the day when it is hot. I know everyone likes to have the sunshine, and right behind me right now I have 4 panels of curtains. I have 1 open so I can get some sunshine in. If your bedrooms are not being used, keep those blinds closed. It really makes a difference when your house isn't, again, your electricity, your central air isn't fighting that extra heat. All of our windows have 2 layers of window dressing. So we have shades and blinds and then curtains on each window in our home, and that helps to keep cold air in, hot air out, and vice versa in the winter months. It doesn't have to be fancy. You can even use foam core boards from the Dollar Tree, which we use in some of our windows upstairs. They're $1.50 a piece. They come in black and they come in white. You would be surprised how much difference it makes. The other thing you can do is control your vents in each room. For example, if you have a lower level and no one's using that lower level, you can close those vents halfway to force the either heat or air conditioning up to the upper levels that you're using. A really neat way to help do this is magnetic vent covers, which are available online. They're very inexpensive and they're easily removed and stored, or you can just leave them up and no one really notices. Some of the other maintenance costs, these are things that I kind of categorized as $100 or less. Make sure you are maintaining your HVAC systems. Change your furnace filter as often as the manufacturer recommends. I do ours every 6 months, once when the air conditioning central air unit comes on, and then once again when we start to use the heating element. That seems to work out best for us. Make sure you're using the appropriate filter. If you don't know, look up your model number online. Make sure you're inserting the air filters in the correct way. That is the fastest way to accelerate the aging of your appliance, is to not use the correct air filter or not change it correctly. Some HVAC companies offer a maintenance type of thing that is if that's something you want to do, that's something to consider. I'm not overly fond of that, but some of them offer it for maybe a couple $100 a season. So if that's not something you're comfortable doing, they'll come in, change your filters, run a vacuum around it, make sure it's all working well. Don't turn your oven on in the summer in the heat of the day. Trust me when I tell you this. Running a 400-degree oven while you're trying to cool your house when it is 90 degrees outside, you're just fighting City Hall. So for the summer months, we primarily focus on lighter meals, Instant Pots, air fryers, and if you have a grill, I mean, you can cook so much out on a grill. If you absolutely are a hardcore, I need to use my oven, I can't not use my oven, which it will take you some time, but I will tell you, during the summer months, I use our oven maybe once a week, 2 hours tops. Again, that early morning and late evening. And use your oven efficiently. If you want to make muffins for the week, if you want to meal prep some proteins, if there's some things you want to cook, try and make sure there's more than one thing in, so you're utilizing that space and that time and that electricity efficiently. Bulk cook if you can, proteins ahead of time so it doesn't take so long when you're cooking your meals. I don't, ground beef, for example, we typically eat most of our ground beef in a browned format in sauces and tacos and spaghetti, stuff like that. I cook all of our ground beef and then freeze it in portions. So let's say we want to have taco night. I can throw it in the Instapot with a cup of seasoning, a cup of water, and I've got taco meat in 5 minutes. I've not used the oven. I've not used the stove. So it just makes meal prep faster. And again, it costs really the same amount of electricity to cook 1 pound of ground beef as it does 10 pounds of ground beef. Again, these are systems that you have to get into place and get used to, but it really does make a big difference. Again, another low cost, switch to night lights instead of lamps. It's not a ton of electricity, and none of these things are a ton of things. It's collectively small things that will help over time. Night lights use far less power than lamps. All of the ones that we have are on, what is the word I'm looking for? They're light activated, so they're not on all the time. When it gets dark, the night lights come on. When it gets light, they go off. You don't even have to, it's like a set it and forget it type of thing. I use them in hallways or in our bathrooms. Again, it helps. All of our outdoor lighting is solar. Now, I live in the north. Does the outdoor lighting always come on in January? It does not, because once November, December hits, we're lucky to have 8-9 hours of daylight. But that's okay, because usually we have snow, and we like to consider snow to be our own personal solar lights. When there's snow on the ground, it's bright outside anyway. And the solar lights are just really for aesthetic, some security, but an investment in some solar lights, ours I think are on year 6 or 7. You can put them away for the winter and also prolong their life. Just it was something that I don't necessarily think extensive exterior lighting is a good investment as far as electricity use. Now, there's some higher cost things that you can do as well to help with your energy usage. And these are big ticket items. And as I mentioned, we've done a lot of big ticket things in the last 4, 5, 6 years in our home. And one thing we did is we upgraded our electricity. That was a $5,000 expenditure. And I will tell you that was the biggest impact. We did not have enough electricity coming into our home as a whole, and our appliances were working overtime to make up for it, drawing more electricity to work. I did not understand that that's how that works. And of course, I'm being general. But that was very helpful. So if you're still on fuses, for example, which we were, consider looking into that. Maybe that's a save up and do in a few years project. I know with the economy, saving up is kind of a joke, but just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Upgrading your HVAC system, again, we kind of saw the writing on the wall for what was coming, so we went ahead and did that 2 years ago at this point. That also decreased our electric bill by 25% month to month. The first month we had it, our electric bill dropped in 25%, and that was in the dead of winter. It was in February, because your furnace never, in the north, furnaces never stop working in the summer months. They always stop working when it is cold. It's just a fact of life. So I guess what I'm going at is there's so much out of our control right now, and a family has, I mean, by and large, you're using electricity. So, but just taking small steps each and every day beyond, turning off the lights in the room that you're in, there's a lot of ways to save electricity and cut your usage that don't interfere. Once you get into these habits, it's not a big deal. It's just a part of your daily life. Another thing to mention, we have a hot water. It's an electric hot water heater for teas and like ramen noodles and stuff like that. It heats the water in 90 seconds. What it doesn't do is put a tea kettle on the stove for 5 to 10 minutes to warm up. Those are the little things. And that tea kettle was like a $45 investment, probably paid for itself already. So just kind of think of the little things around the house that you can do. Even if you can cut your electric bill by 10, 15, 20% right now, it's going to make a huge difference for you. So I hope this was useful, and I thank you for watching and subscribing if you haven't, and I will see you in the next video. Hopefully we'll do some great gardening stuff today. We are scheduled to get 2 to 3 inches of rain tomorrow, so I'm going to go out and cut the grass. Have a great day, everyone.